Hello everyone and welcome to the Drexel Free Thought Society Weekly Podcast. Today is going to be the start of something possibly exciting or hilariously disastrous. We are screening both on Spreaker, on our radio show for you those easy listening type of viewers, if you exist at all. But we're also, once I get it up and running, we'll be running on Google Hangout. We are now live. Here are the lovely voices of people that... Alright, it's starting now. Alright, here are the lovely voices that belong to all of these lovely people. Once they start talking, you might recognize them. All 27 of our regular viewers. Anyway, feel free to join either one of the conversations, either on Spreaker or on Hangout. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter. Spread everything around, it'll be awesome. Anyway, this week we are talking about religion and sexual oppression. Yay!
The men cheer. Sorry.
Oh, shut up.
Sorry.
As a man, I'm offended that we've been having a little bit of fun with gender talk before this began, and I think we can just go directly into that. Because that's kind of a gender, sexual, something, related something.
This is my question for people, specifically, David. What is gender fluid?
Gender fluidity?
Yes.
The idea that one does not strictly identify themselves as one gender or another.
Okay.
A lot of people like this prefer to be spoken to with third-person pronouns.
What?
Like
Yeah.
it,
You mean like they?
Yeah.
Or them? But
which is plural. We don't really have a good
I know.
gender-neutral
It's
singular.
It's really a shame
Yeah.
that our language isn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
But there are other languages that are. And it works pretty well.
that'd be so awkward on Facebook though. It would be like, wish it a happy birthday.
No, you'd be like,
That's sad.
oh, I know Joe. That's a gender indiscriminate name. I know that it's your birthday. I wish you a happy birthday. Or you just be like, I wished Joe a happy birthday the other. It's like there's a little bit of like verbal gymnastics you have to go through, but it doesn't matter. The whole point of it is
Shim?
that
We
no,
shim?
there are a lot. There's like Zer is the UZ. in
Taylor
Zer.
can be boys or girls.
Okay, let's just go through the list. Taylor, Sam, Joe,
Jordan.
Jordan,
Bailey?
Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I've ever heard that is used as a name.
Jesse.
Jesse, Ash. There we go, we ran out. Congratulations, Internet.
Wasn't the
We've learned so much so far.
It's only been like 2 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's all we need to know.
So these are important things, though. It's our particular society. Casey, there we go. We're probably just going to shout these out randomly. But these are sorts of things that are really only coming to light fairly recently because something of a very powerful gender binary exists in our society. And not at all fought against by the religious side. Or at the very least, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think of, like, the churches that have, like, the LGBT, we support you kind of stuff? Or it's like, it doesn't matter what gender you are, we love you anyway. It's like, I love when churches do that, but I always fall back on the whole, like, if you're going to just disregard things in your book, can you just drop the religion and become a community center?
Well, if they would have done that, they would have dropped it a long time ago when slavery was no longer a thing in the United States.
No, but you see religious people ended slavery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what happened.
Yeah, and then it's okay because you're actually allowed to wear clothing of different fabrics.
Yeah, I don't.
Without being burned at
Yeah,
the
the
stake.
other thing, you're allowed to play football.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's not protesters at football games. Like, you can't
Why is
be
football-
touching.
Well, there
That's
actually
what
was
the
the
offense
other
is getting.
week.
Guys, Steve has a question.
Why would football be like offensive to the Bible?
In Leviticus, there's a line that's effectively, thou shalt not mess with the skin of a pig or whatever. It's just another law of, like, keep away from pork because it's evil and dirty.
Okay. Fine.
But that we kind of absentmindedly happen to make footballs out of pigskin. So no football for you guys. But anyway, that's aside from the point. Steve, why did you choose this topic specifically? Steve is our resident idea guy for this week.
Well, I don't know. I just noticed something about being brought up in a religious household. Like, I know a lot of religious guys and a lot of religious girls who are very sexually repressed. It's like they don't embrace their sexuality. It's like they try to stuff it down, like, ignore it.
No, keep going.
What's so funny?
Sorry, I was thinking about. Sorry.
Izzy, calm down.
No. This is related to the topic. I swear. I was thinking about this thing I saw on the internet. It was like there's some Christian group or whatever. And they put out this like video and like this book called like Every Man's Battle.
Oh my god.
So I'm
No,
just, like,
we'll talk about that later.
this.
We'll talk about that
I've heard
later.
of this.
It's these people and they're like anti-masturbation.
What?
It's Every Man's Battle it's sort of a documentary, and it's about
No, it's like acting, but like really bad acting. It's just like
that doesn't
I
mean
got
it's
some-
not considered a documentary.
Shouldn't
I
it
got
just be
some
called
buzz juice.
Everybody's Battle?
I got some buzz juice.
Just
No,
say
be-
it should be everybody's
Well, no,
battle.
because according to the Christian right, like women are basically asexual. Women don't want it. Women are only doing it to please the man.
No, women are a vehicle to produce children. That is basically the religious attitude for women.
That's like so messed up.
So basically, they're just meat sacks for growing babies.
They're living incubators.
Yep.
That is
Wow.
okay. So now we're actually getting into the
That
topic.
is messed up.
That is a common like. I think I voiced this in the initial. Can you move your bag? Because for some reason it's like dominating.
Oh my
half
god,
the
I'm
screen.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know what's with this camera, but it's like really zoomed in.
Let's see if I can block
I
it.
can't see. No, I can see. Shut up.
Damn.
All right, so a lot. You're so
Sorry.
distracting.
I'm sorry.
We're very professional here.
There are many religions, especially the Abrahamic ones, that really play on the theme of controlling people's sexuality, especially women. And I think there's a really easy, I have a speculative reason for that, and it's mostly just women have the capacity to produce children with very little help from a guy.
What?
I mean, they kind of do leave.
Guys have to leave something. The rest is done by the women.
That's it? Well, that's true.
Yeah, you guys don't have to walk around for 9 months.
Feeling
No, we
guilty.
don't.
Yeah, David, you don't have to walk around for 9 months feeling like you constantly have to pee.
Well,
That's that.
it's Steve, don't make fun of my bladder infection.
How dare you?
I don't
How dare you
have-
mock pregnancy?
I don't
You
know
don't
what.
know what they go through.
You don't have.
I do know what they go
in the middle of
through.
the night.
I've seen diagrams.
You don't have to do childbirth.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to walk around with the most fragile parts of your body dangling in free air.
I've heard that childbirth is much like getting a tennis ball shoved into the urethra of your penis.
I disagree with that statement, considering women get an incredible dose of vigorous
My mom,
Forget what it's
my mom
called.
did it natural.
yeah, because your brain
Whoa.
numbs the pain like crazy.
I'm pretty sure that
Not-
it doesn't numb
Is that
the
why-
pain
Not completely.
down to-
Is that why, when women give birth and they hold their husband's hands, they crush them and it feels like
You did this. That's kind of a
No, I mean,
no,
well,
because
I mean,
adrenaline. and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was younger, and if I was getting a shot in my arm, the way I kind of dealt with it was I would hold my mom's hand and I would kind of squeeze it or whatever. It's just a way to deal with
Technically,
it.
it makes it way worse.
What?
Tensing your muscles will make getting shots worse.
Yeah, I kind
Well,
of.
childbirth is a little bit different than getting shots,
Yeah.
especially because you kind of have to tense to contract and help it be over.
I suppose. I mean, I'm way more favorable of the 12-hour labor. That just sounds awesome to me.
Yes.
I've seen it on 16 and Pregnant. It doesn't look fun.
Why would you ever watch that?
Yeah, why would you watch that show?
That's a good
Just
show.
Why do you hate yourself?
I like that.
Why do you
show.
hate society?
No, I like.
You're
that
the
show.
reason that I cry at night.
No, that's a good show.
How is it? I feel bad
That's
for
an
the
interesting
teenagers
show.
on it.
What?
Oh,
What was
hey,
that?
Dante.
Okay, Dante.
You scared the shit out
You're
of me.
supplying money to the same people who make shows like Rich Kids of Beverly Hills.
Oh, come on. It's a
Yeah,
good show.
But okay, you have to understand, like
It's a good
you know
fucking
that like month when like, because we go to Drexel, you know, like that month before school starts, that like all your friends are at school, and you're hi, and you're like not at school and you're bored out of your mind. Freshman year, before freshman year, that's what I did. I watched 16 right now.
I
Do
feel
not
like
judge.
it's got to be taking advantage of these girls who are in a situation that's difficult.
I don't
and
feel
need-
bad for them. They volunteered to be on this show.
Yeah, they chose
They're
to
probably
be on the show.
paid, and it might be an issue of
They probably got pregnant just so they could get their own TV show.
Everyone-
All right, I'm gonna argue against that, but
No,
I mean, not all of them, but I think a
would
lot
say
of them,
everyone
yeah.
makes
They
their
might.
own
I
choices.
would
Guys, one person.
Everyone makes their own choices. I mean, if you're gonna choose to get pregnant, I mean, it is a choice. It's a choice to
Richard.
get.
What are you talking about? It could be an accident.
If you're too young to consent to sex with an adult when you're 16, then how is it completely a choice?
Why would you have? Why would you have the choice to have to consent to
What if
have
it's another
sex with?
16
it's
year
called
old.
statutory rape.
I mean, no, there's
Oh.
that. There's that. I mean, obviously, there's the whole thing where you're 16 and then somebody obviously rapes you, and that's a bad thing. And
Okay, we're talking,
obviously-
but you're talking about
But
consensual
I'm
sex
talking
between
about
teenagers.
even if you are like 16 or something like that, and then you choose to have sex with someone who might be of older
What
age.
this
It
says,
is both of their fault.
Richard. But what I'm hearing from this is it's two people that don't know any better. That
It's
should know
two
better.
stupid people that should know better.
Yes, but then you're saying it's
They're
their
both
fault for doing it.
It is their fault.
If they should know better, that means that they don't know better.
They
What?
Totally off topic. Can I take pictures for my photo class?
Objection?
No.
Okay,
Okay,
go
cool.
for it.
I'm supposed to take environmental portraits.
We're part of the environment.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay, anyway, look as debonair as you possibly can. Just like that, Dante.
No, do not pose for the
It's
camera. I
called
will eat
Microsoft only.
you. I will eat you if you pose. Like, I'm not
Evan had a good day.
I think
I'm
accidental
only running off
pregnancies
1 hour of
happen
sleep, so-
regardless.
Guys,
I think that accidental pregnancies can happen regardless of IQ, and I think that
Oh, are we really getting into this now?
well,
We
I
just
think that it's
had you.
unfair.
let Julie finish.
I think that it's unfair to take advantage of the situation that these young women are in by creating a amusing drama for other people to watch.
Oh no, I totally agree.
Well, I agree
And
with
this is
that.
why I'm condemning Izzy for watching it.
Okay.
I agree with that, but at the same time, these people have chosen to be on such
How
a
can-
show.
Richard.
It's kind of like the Honey Boo Boo thing. They chose to be on a show. It's not really
The honey,
particularly
kid.
okay,
nice
Richard. In both
to
these
watch it.
situations, it's adults making decisions for their children.
come on.
Yes. They're
So
both-
how is it the children's fault?
No. I'm saying if you're 16 years old, you should know the consequences of having sex. You
But they
might
didn't,
have
or
a
they
child.
wouldn't have done it.
What? No. That's the whole thing. They do.
Dante has
They
his
don't
hand
think it's gonna
raised.
happen.
There's a
that's why.
difference between ignorance and stupidity. We're speaking on the terms that you guys are talking right now. When it comes to these teenagers, I think it is safe to assume. I mean,
Guys, we have our first viewer on Hangout.
cool.
Yay!
It's safe
Hello,
to assume.
viewer.
Hi.
Join the chat. We're lonely. Anyway, continue.
It's safe to assume that if you're 16 years old, you possess some sort of cognitive
Oh, and I
ability
left.
that allows you to know the consequences of having
Yes.
sex or
Yes.
But
having
that's the
kids
thing,
or
when you're in a
something.
Thank you.
When
But
you're
it
in a
depends.
situation-
Wait, hold on,
Guys.
It depends. It depends on the situation, though. There are some cases where the parents have not taught the children anything about sex, and there are some cases where teenagers, they do explore, they do watch porn, they listen to their peers, or they even talk to their parents about this stuff. They take it to a different step. They know these things, but they refuse to apply the knowledge to being safe. That is stupidity. Ignorance is when you don't have the knowledge whatsoever.
You- if
And I
you're
think
You're
ignorant
forgetting
about
like these
certain
hormonal
things-
urges. I mean, sometimes
Yes,
you
dude.
just forget you just stop thinking. Like literally, sometimes you're so in the moment.
It's a reptilian brain.
Then you just.
And then you.
One person
masturbate.
has to talk at a time, guys.
Well, no, because you stop thinking completely. No, that happens. I've experienced it.
I'd like to tie this back to religion.
Please do.
I know a very good friend who had a baby when she was like a little younger than us, and wanted to get him baptized and couldn't because she wasn't married. And I just think that it's interesting that, I mean, it's been recorded that women are more active in the church despite their lack of leadership roles, and I find it interesting that a baby whose mother wants him to be in a religion, what does it say about the religion that they automatically don't allow?
I think this goes back to the controlling reproduction.
Yeah.
It's just like you need women in the religion, or the religion's going to die after a generation. Look at the Shakers. They were like a cult in like the 1800s, or I guess the early 1900s. They died in a generation because they said reproduction was evil. Yeah. Surprise, they ended in a generation.
It's called religious breeding and sycophancy.
But that's the idea, is you need, and I think religion plays a huge role in making women feel worthless, so that the religion can control them completely.
I think that it's interesting that in a sense they're punishing a baby who had no choice of its parents.
They don't care.
Because they think it was conceived in sin.
Because the baby serves a purpose to them.
What fault is the baby of that?
I think Dante hit it right on the head. Is the baby will serve a purpose to them?
The baby
they
is
are
an
another
asset.
follower.
Yeah, it's an asset to them.
But it's the opposite. They're refusing entrance into the religion.
Yes, when one person is talking, the other people have to stop talking.
Yeah, it's not a use of the baby. Or an acceptance of another follower. They literally say, "You can't be part of the church. We're not baptizing this baby."
And they're doing that baby a favor.
Okay, but
wait, would it make more sense for them to say, let's baptize your kid because that's another follower?
That's why I'm a little bit...
Well, you're taking away the choice of the child either way. If you're going to say to the child, well, you're not allowed to join our religion, period, you're taking away the choice, and therefore that is bad. But at the same time, you're saying, I'm going to baptize this child right now, and you have to be a part of the religion forever. You're taking away the choice. It's two sides of the same coin.
No, that's just not true. I was baptized. I'm no longer part of the church.
Well, no, I mean, I was
technically
baptized.
You might still be part of the church.
Well,
it takes forever to get off the registry.
I mean, I was baptized when I was 12. And that's because my parents gave me a choice, and I think that's a good thing. Obviously, later on, I became an atheist. But most people, they baptize their baby in the Catholic Church or whatever church they are before they can even make a choice, and I think that's wrong.
Well, you're negating the whole idea that the point of getting a child baptized is because they're born in sin, and they want the child to be allowed to go to heaven if it dies young.
Oh.
So yes, so they're not trying to manipulate the child for their own gain. The parents are, in a sense, trying to save the child if, God forbid, something terrible were to happen and it would die.
God forbid.
Before it was able to make a decision.
It sounds like a bit of
it was very likely back in the past that your child would die before.
Yes.
It sounds like a bit of elitism, if you ask me. It's like this baby doesn't belong in our.
I think there's actually a lot of elitism in religion because there's a lot of groups that say
we are the chosen people.
Yeah, we're the chosen people.
They literally say they're the chosen people.
And you guys all burn in hell. No.
Yeah, that actually, I had never actually thought of it that way. That makes a lot more sense.
So that's why I was so upset, even as an atheist, that Catholic woman wasn't allowed to get her child baptized because it was born out of wedlock. Because in her eyes, in the church's eyes, that baby, if it were to die, wouldn't go to heaven.
Yeah, then the church is evil.
The church is evil, Richard. We know that.
Richard, have you been paying attention to this show?
Well, the church doesn't.
We're none too keen on religion.
If you remember, the old Pope resigned so he could go back and play the Emperor in Star Wars. That's how evil it is.
I knew it. Seriously, he looks like Palpatine.
He does.
Anyway, as I get my picture continuously taken,
Sorry.
what about childhood sexuality, or I guess developmental sexuality? How does religion play on that?
There's something that
They
I heard
don't
from.
like it.
There's
Pretty
some-
obvious.
There's something that I heard from Stefan Molyneux. He's one of my favorite philosophers, and he said something about sexual crimes against children. And I guess this would relate to the sexual repression that they put on children when they're going through puberty. They say you're not allowed to masturbate or something, do something that is natural. And Stefan Molyneux brought up a really good point. Not only is that evil, it's just plain creepy. I mean, you're repressing this child's sexuality, which is a nature of a human being. So it's absolutely wrong.
I think, what was it?
It's cruel and unusual.
It's a Family Guy did a spoof on this. It was the grandfather thought that using the bathroom was actually masturbating. It was an old episode, but it was just like, "Aw, man, I'm a sinner and God's a pervert." I'm pretty sure that sums up a lot of things.
He sees you when you're sleeping, and he knows when you're awake. And he knows when you've been bad or good. So don't
Damn,
masturbate.
Santa.
So don't masturbate.
The whole
What if
concept.
you're an
of
exhibitionist?
I don't know. What's an exhibitionist?
People that enjoy when people are watching.
Okay.
Just imagine a person just taking off their clothes randomly in the middle of the street. That's a form of exhibitionism.
What?
It is.
Oh, that's so
occurs.
stupid.
And then you've got the opposite, where voyeurism is where people like to watch people.
Not necessarily opposite. I would say they're
Yeah.
complementary.
Complimentary, I suppose.
That'd be a weird couple. If someone's like the really creepy stereotype voyeur and like has to like look in at his wife undressing or something, but she's an exhibitionist.
Some do that.
That would be a funny. That'd be great. Like fifth date or something when this somehow comes up in conversation. And they're just like, why are we still here? Let me go jump in the hedges. You go do as you do.
Son, let me tell you the story of how I met your mother. I was watching her through the bushes.
Steve, no one needs to know that. No one ever needs to know that.
It's just a shame that they condemn children for even asking about sex at all.
It is true. There's a big game in just negating the subject as a topic of conversation.
Well, I even remember, like, I had a friend in high school who was very, very religious, and she had a younger brother. And this younger brother was 11, 12-ish at the time when she had this conversation with me. You know, that's the, what I like to call the curious age. And, like, she was going on, she was like, oh, I really don't want him to, like, watch Glee or whatever, because, like, you know, like, they talk about sex on that show, and I don't want him to think about the girls like that, like when he looks at a girl's body, you know, he thinks about different things than we think about, or like.
It's like, what do you think about?
Yeah, she's like, and I don't want him to like take sex ed in middle school because I don't want him to like learn about this and like.
That's why she didn't want him to watch.
She's like, I don't want him to like know about things.
No, but
and,
I think you just like named a really important aspect.
Sinner.
See you later.
Bye.
I think you named a really important aspect, and I think it's the idea that people. Okay.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that I brought something.
Yeah, it's the idea that you have to. I just lost my train of thought. Okay.
Darn train.
Stupid trains. Have my ticket and everything. No overhead storage space.
Don't use SEPTA.
I like so.
Alright, actually, bye.
See you
There
later.
it is.
But. Damn. Oh,
What were you
it's
talking
you
about?
want to
Sex ed or something?
you want to negate the idea of sexuality in your children because it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Here's
Like-
something. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like if you are perfectly comfortable talking about sexual education, especially with a small child, then you'll have no problem doing it. It's like if you're perfectly comfortable with sexuality in general, then you'll be fine talking about it.
But that's the thing. Our religion sort of makes it so that you're
It,
uncomfortable.
it makes it a dirty subject.
I remember.
Or forbidden subject, rather.
Like, my mom said she had been talking to somebody, like, at the time she belonged to the Y, and she'd been talking to somebody about, like, she was talking to somebody else about, like, the puberty class or whatever in 5th grade, you know, like, you know what I'm talking about, yeah, like, it's like, yes, you're changing body or whatever, like, you know, and, like, this other woman, like, interjected, and she's like, oh, can we get our kids out of that class? And that's the one I really don't get, because, like, okay, no matter what, you, like, that's going to happen to your kid. Like, your kid's going to get boobs. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if that really hurts your feelings, but you can't really change that, you know?
And
like,
you know what would be the most terrifying thing in the world? Like, I was never a prepubescent girl.
Oh, wait,
but if I
wait.
was,
Okay.
the scariest thing in the world was getting your first period and knowing nothing about
well,
it.
have you ever seen Carrie?
Yeah, that's what I was about to
No.
say. Have you seen Carrie?
Yeah, that's what happened. Her mom is so religious.
She
like,
doesn't
she gives
tell her
her
about her period.
What?
The movie Carrie.
Mary Carrie.
It's a character.
It's by Stephen King.
She was,
Still no idea.
she was pyrokinetic.
Okay, well, whatever.
She's pyrokinetic.
The
I'm watching
very,
this
first,
movie
the,
now.
the very first scene in the movie, she's in gym class and she's taking a shower and she starts bleeding.
And she thinks she's dying.
And she thinks she's dying.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And,
If
like,
you didn't know, if you
and the
didn't know
thing
what
of it
was
is, like,
happening.
she's in high school or whatever. Like, she's at the age, like, you're supposed to know. And, like, you know, all the girls start, like, throwing tampons at her. I feel really bad, you know? And then, like,
Why would you throw them at her? Would you be like, do you need this?
well, they
Like,
were teasing her. They were teasing her because she didn't know what it was.
She wasn't very
Who
popular.
has like that many tampons? You can just throw them at people.
Well, yeah,
Is
that's the
that
other
a thing that
That's the
women
other
have?
thing. Tampons are expensive. Like, I don't know why you would, like, waste them by, like, throwing them at people.
That is one thing
called
I was not aware
stupidity.
of. But then again, how much engineering went into creating tampons? I understand why they're expensive.
I mean, I'm just
Hey,
saying,
those things
they're
are
more
brilliant.
expensive than the other, you know, product. But then
They're called pads, Izzy.
fads.
You can say it out loud.
That's the goal of this conversation is to,
I know.
take down these barriers.
Well, that's the funny thing. I do remember,
Men
like,
have penises,
oh yeah, I'm well aware of this
and
fact.
women do not.
Yes, I know.
But they have this weird like butt thing going on with their chest. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know what would the second butt be for.
Secondary butt.
Just stop.
Oh, fantastic. Anyway, go on.
I don't even remember what I was
Evolution.
saying.
You're welcome. No, but that's the thing, is if you shelter your children, I think the second half of the show is going to be a lot about consequences, but we have like a little over 15 minutes left of this one, so we can just dip into it now.
We could just talk about periods. And,
No, this is a consequence.
Secondary butts.
If you shelter your children from sexual education, which a lot of religious people do, then they will have absolutely no idea what's going on. I would be traumatized if I woke up in the middle of the night and, oh, whoops, my entire torso is covered in blood. I would assume
It
someone
doesn't
tried
work
to-
that
Well, I have a
way.
question.
I roll in my sleep.
Well, is there any what if is
And I do
there any,
spontaneous handstands.
is there any harm in doing the opposite of what religion does at a very early age? Like if
I think
someone
what?
is like, I don't know, 8 or 6 or something. I mean, 6 years
Okay,
old, and
so-
you expose them with a lot of.
Well, you
sexual
shouldn't expose
things.
yourself to your 8-year-old
I don't
children.
think that. I don't
No,
know.
I mean-
But-
that would.
So they expose them to, like, what if, like, a father says to their son, "Oh yeah, that woman is like really hot and they
No,
have
this
a nice
is
ass." with it."
there's a degree of tact, and actually no. Let me explain. My health teacher from high school, who is an unbelievably wonderful lady, and she was actually very helpful in my struggle through puberty. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
Puberty David. Puberty
I was a gangly fellow,
What's changed?
and,
No, I'm kidding.
and sexual preferences that went up and down. It was crazy. Anyway, moving on. The best advice about child rearing when it comes to sexual education I've ever heard came from her. Her name is Miss Thompson, by the way. Anyway,
Shout out to Miss Thompson.
she was nice.
Narf.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Thompson. You're fantastic. But here's the deal. When they're old enough to ask, they're old enough to know.
What if you expose them before they ask?
Well, then you did not follow the advice of Miss Thompson.
Then you traumatize a 6-year-old.
No, then you probably just confuse. Like, it's. With just words. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was about to say with just words, it's hard to traumatize a child, but that's not true.
I mean, if you expose them to sexuality, like...
No, I mean, if
when
it
he was
was
talking about it, I envisioned him saying, okay, let's strap a 6-year-old into a chair and make them watch porn.
No, I'm not saying
Clockwork
that.
Orange.
Like, what if, like, the father says to his son, like, who's like 5 or 6 years old, oh, you know, that woman has a nice rack or something like that. And then the child has
probably just
no
go
idea
straight
what
over their
they're
head.
talking about.
No, for a while it'll probably go straight over their head, but then I wish our psych major
Oh
was
no,
still here.
they'll understand.
But no, I think after a while they'll start understanding what it means, and I think that would skew them in some direction.
And it doesn't take them long, actually.
What I would suggest in my obviously completely ill-informed way of raising children is the idea that when they're old enough to ask about the information, you should tell them about the information. And further, if there's like issues that come up, like say the whole period example. If your daughters are just like, yeah, I heard like our cousin was doing this thing, changing something in the bathroom. I don't know what the hell's going on. Please explain this to me. I'm scared and confused. Then you should help them understand. But help them understand in a very, like...
Tactful, educational.
No, like, educationally. Go like, this is what this is what this is. When the two come together, stuff happens. Like, don't leave things out. Like, if you leave a mystery out there, then bad stuff will happen.
Like storks.
Yeah, like, I hate the stork
boy.
story. Because it's basically saying, like, I don't respect my child enough to give them the actual facts of the matter.
What, you didn't know that in the 19th century, birth control was actually just hitting the stork with a broom at the window so it didn't come?
You know that would eliminate the child. That would just make them go somewhere else.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what you don't
So
get the
birth
child.
control is just like shipping a child off to an unsuspecting couple.
It's passing the buck.
I remember when I was a kid, somebody actually tried to tell me about the stork story, and I laughed at it. And I called it utterly ridiculous.
I remember I had an intense existential crisis when I was like 9. And I tried to explain what my question... I asked my mom, like, why is it that I look out of my eyes but not out of yours? And then she explained to me where babies came from.
That's actually very astute of you.
Are you the least bit surprised?
That's pretty... I wouldn't have thought of that one.
So
I thought of that.
So babies, storks, and eyeballs.
No, but I just find that hilarious. It's just like, my mom's just like, oh, David can't possibly be actually asking this question. You must want to know where people come from. I'll just get this out of the way. And I could tell that she was embarrassed about explaining it to her young son. So I actually sped it along. I was like, yeah, I get it. Move on to the next part. And then it's like, all right, I get the picture. We're done. Thanks, Mom. Good talk.
I can't even go over how I even learned about sex. I mean, I remember we had classes.
Are we all gonna discuss how we learned what sex was?
What the hell is the birds and the bees story?
Stupid.
Is it like birds sting like bees sting birds in the butt or something?
I think it's an actual.
How do these things have sex with each other?
It's just a euphemism before the actual.
What euphemism?
I don't know.
There's several openings in a bird. None of which require bees.
Well, see, David, when a mommy and a daddy really love each other.
How does this have to do with birds and bees?
Well, the mommy and
The
daddy
mommy
really love
is
each
the
other.
bird,
The mommy
and the daddy is the bee.
Daddy sticks his stinger inside the mommy.
But the males
This
don't have
makes sex
stingers.
sound horrible.
I'm
been stung by bees. I don't want that to happen.
Yes.
As a zoologist, I have to say that the males don't have stingers, so the story makes even less sense.
I thought you were still talking about people, and I'm like, Dante, we know that. We know that human penises don't have stingers attached
We
to
sure
them.
hope.
At least mine doesn't.
Cats do.
I don't know about you, but mine doesn't.
Cats have barbs on theirs.
Wait,
Yes.
what?
Cats have barbs on their penises.
Oh, that's so creepy.
And bed bugs are even worse.
What about
No one cares, Dante.
But bed
Dogs have a knot that expands upon ejaculation, locking the male and female together for a while.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The things you learn from
And
biology.
bedbugs mate by rape.
A lot of things do.
And
Ducks are
pigs
evil.
have a swirly penis that can go so
You sounded
far
so
with the-
excited. No, ducks are evil.
Why?
They're the only species I know of that actively has evolved not to reproduce with each other.
How do they reproduce?
Like the duck has like a corkscrew vagina.
No, that's what I was thinking.
And then their penis, the male penis, is like 2 feet long and like goes in weird angles.
Oh, that's the penis I was
I
thinking
kid
of.
you not, and this sounds so stupid, but male mallard ducks actually lasso females with their penises. Look it up, internet people. You can't make this up.
That was the penis I was talking about.
God has a sense of
Not
humor.
Mallard ducks are evil.
God thought that was funny. So
It's hilarious.
I love how Izzy still hasn't closed in her mouth since this conversation started.
at least it's not a duck around.
Elephants use theirs as a 5th leg.
What?
That adds a whole new meaning to well hung.
People still use walrus baculums, which is actually a bone located inside the penis. They use it as a weapon.
What?
I would.
Wait.
You get some respect if you murder some other person with someone's penis.
That also adds a new meaning to the word boner.
Wow.
It adds no new meaning. It's the same. Okay, anyway. So, religion.
Whales,
They don't know anything about this stuff.
or they don't care. That's what makes it even worse.
Oh, that's the
when
funny-
When they learn about it and don't care.
Why is there such a thing that's like, like Christianity is like way into like missionary,
Yes.
as you can tell by the name.
Oh, is that where it comes from?
I imagine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I think so.
In the 1500s, during the Protestant Reformation era, they had a whole big thing about sex and how naughty it was. And the only way that you
Naughty.
can have then the only way that you can have sex with the female was the male being dominant, so they came up with the missionary position.
I don't think they came up with it.
No,
I think
missionary.
I just said that's the only
Well,
way.
they came up with a word named missionary.
I was about to say, it's
missionary
like-
position. Because
It's like,
the
guys, I
male
have
is
this new
always
thing.
supposed to be-
You look at the woman when you're having sex with her.
Well,
Well, the male is always supposed to be more.
As if I weren't already
The
doing
male
that.
was always supposed to be more dominant over the woman, especially in sexual activities. And
You see,
therefore-
if you want to be more dominant over the submissive party in a sexual encounter, there are much easier ways to do it than missionary.
although it's
I mean, their
also
legs
said
are
that-
still. They can still kick the crap out of you.
Also, it's only said that humans are the actual only mammals that go.
False.
Like, really?
False. Pretty much every other great ape still has the capacity to do that.
great ape.
Dolphins
What?
do that.
To do what?
Whales do that.
To do what?
To do what?
Missionary.
Oh.
Look at each other during coitus.
Coitus.
It's the religion trying to
Wait,
co-opt
that's-
the trademark.
Coitus is the most awesome word to describe sexual activity.
Coitus.
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 I usually say copulation.
Copulation.
Sexual intercourse.
Copulation.
Diggity. I can't do the voice.
But again, it's the religion. It's the religion trying to
That
co-opt.
was like right on, damn.
It's
Anyway,
the religion trying to co-opt and kidnap concepts and make it their own.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Because I'm pretty sure people could figure out the, like,
Also,
I'm pretty sure cavemen were bored a lot.
Also, why do you think that? Also, why do you think that religion, Christianity, so wanted people to be against sex? It's because they wanted to control the greatest feeling in the world and make it so you weren't supposed to have any pleasure from that, and instead look to the afterlife instead, where it's supposed to get the pleasure that they were deprived of.
No, see, because every single person that has ever been religious has never remained celibate.
No, I mean it's always.
I'm saying,
none.
no, I'm making a flat assertion that every religious person that has ever existed, maybe celibate, maybe, and that could just be because they never found any women or men around that were willing. But there has never existed a person that did not grab their crotch at some time.
Well, they
Just throwing that out there.
No, I mean they originally made it a sin, and like they said, like if you masturbate, then you're going
No, it's never been a
to
sin.
hell.
It's never been a sin.
Really?
Masturbation is the thing of, I want to say ham, but I don't think it's ham.
It's every man's battle.
Onan.
Onan, thank you. It's the sin of Onan. And that's the old school Bible story of, I'm Onan, and I did not feel like impregnating my brother's widow.
So I pulled out.
So I pulled out and spilled my seed on the ground. Therefore, touching yourself at night is not allowed.
Also, cornflakes.
Then God said, "Damneth you," and bad things happen.
No, you see, it was the reason it was bad is because God told him to have sex with his brother's widow.
And he did.
And he didn't. To be fair, like, the way I would interpret this story, if I cared at all what the Bible said, was just that this story is about obeying God. It has nothing to do with the actual action that took place.
It's all about obeying God.
No, I mean, that sounds like what's going on. But they extrapolate to be like, hey, we can control sexuality with this passage. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
They give the
why
passage
do you
a
think?
text.
Why do you think the people in power didn't want the people that have the capability to read the Bible? Because if they read the
Because they
Bible,
knew
they
how
would
fucked up it
understand
is.
that the papacy was completely incorrect in their
No,
assertion.
they know if anyone actually read the Bible, they won't believe it.
Well,
Book of
that's
Eli.
What?
Book of Eli. That whole movie was based around that Bible being protected by one guy because he knew the power it possessed over people.
He could have just burned it.
Possible.
also cornflakes. Were
Even though that
originally-
movie tacitly says that Christianity is accurate.
How?
Book of Eli, he's blind.
So?
And he beats the crap out of a lot of people. With hand-to-hand combat.
Oh.
CQC.
Skills that are difficult to master if you can't see.
I don't know, the Bible sounds pretty badass.
But he's
so that's what
Denzel,
it
so that kind of
says.
works.
It was a cool movie, but I just was like, really? They're gonna end it like that?
Can I have some gum?
Like, spoilers, guys, but the way the movie ends
Thank you.
is that
You're my new favorite
they
person.
find out he's blind and the Bible's written in Braille. So the guy who wanted the Bible to control people was like, oh no, I can't read this. Ah! So yeah, that happened.
That's awesome.
And that was the end of the movie. Congratulations.
So wait, what is this, like the last Bible or something?
Yeah, it's the world ended, and this guy that rules a town wants to have a whole bunch of people bring him books because he knows if he has a Bible, he can use it to control people.
Oh.
So he finds out Eli has a Bible, and he wants to take it from him. Then he finally gets it as Eli books it out of the town, and apparently he memorized the entire Bible. So he recited it to be put into this master library. And it's,
Interesting.
the Bible has a lot of literary history, but honestly, we could do better without it. There's nothing in there that's like unique whatsoever.
Honestly, if I had the
they
last
had a
Bible,
beast
I would
called
burn that
Behemoth.
thing.
What?
He had a beast called a behemoth. That's quite unique.
It's not at all.
So is the Bible.
Greeks had like so many giant, crazy monsters,
Yeah, but it wasn't.
and they were cooler than an ill-described behemoth.
But it wasn't a behemoth.
Hydra.
It's barely Hydras were Greek.
I know, Hydra's not bad.
Oh, I was about to say.
Hydras were everywhere.
Unicorns before the Bible. Also in the Bible.
Basilisks, cockatrice.
Manticores.
Basilisks. Ooh. Basilisk is a thing.
Oh yeah, I know.
He's
Oh, the
the cockatrice.
Easily from the basilisk.
The cockatrice was in an episode of My Little Pony.
What?
I heard.
My Little Pony.
No. Stop that right now. I like the show, but no singing.
Christians don't like My Little Pony.
Christians don't like anything.
That's because
No, Christians like power and control over people.
I thought they liked God.
And to hating
I
themselves.
thought they liked God.
go,
I don't know,
go
there's
Power
a time-
Ranger.
I mean, at some points, I think, the way they talk about Jesus, you think, hey, I want to be sexual with you.
Thank you, Steve. But I'm gonna have to say no.
No.
You mean how some women go like, my number one man is Jesus, my second man is my husband?
Even guys, like, the way that they talk
Alright,
about
I'm gonna say
how
that
much
flat
you
out.
should-
If I ever meet someone that says that, it's like, alright, we're done.
Then stay away from a lot of urban.
Oh, so we're about out of time for our first segment. I hope we said something worth listening to, but I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Biscuit.
Thank you for joining us. Please share everyone all the time. We'll be back in 15 minutes for the rest of the show. Join our Hangout. That way you can see some of us and join the chat live. The next portion of the show is live. Email us. Join us on Skype at Drexel Free Thought. Bye.
And remember, girls have two